I say that. I say things like, I'm going to start the video and go right into the pre-roll.
And then Justin walks away.
I had to close the door.
Oh, no, it wasn't even that. Then I don't plug in my soundboard.
You know.
I also muted my mic, so there's no way I would show up on camera.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone. Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. Thanks, me. If you also wish to bring it, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. That's dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News Show for Wednesday, December 30th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today for our predictions results show, our producer Jennie Josephson, who by percentage had the best results from last year's predictions. Jennie, I say you just go to one prediction this year and go for 100%.
All right, I'm in.
Also joining us, Justin Robert Young, who, like me, probably is better off not looking at how we did. But, you know, it's all about the fun of trying, right, Justin?
Fun thing about predictions, Tom, is that they're never wrong. They're just not right yet.
That's exactly right. We both have a couple of those, actually. And Patrick Beja, you actually got a couple pretty close to right. Well done.
Yes, thank you. But let's not celebrate just yet. We're going to go through the arduous process of explaining who is right and who is wrong.
That's a great tease ahead. If you want something arduous, folks, stay tuned. If you don't know what we're doing, every year since Buzz Out Loud days and through the Tech News Today days, I've always done a prediction show at the end of the year with whomever I was hosting my shows with. And the first year we did one, I thought, well, we should check in on these. And so we've held ourselves to that because a lot of people make these predictions articles on blogs, and they never go back and look at how well they did. So that's kind of the fun of like, all right, let's see where our mindset was last year. And it does kind of remind me how differently we think from year to year when we go back and look at these. So it's very fun. We're going to start with Justin Robert Young and your 5 predictions last year, starting with one that I think was a really good bet. And like you said at the beginning of the show, it just means it's not true yet. Snapchat will IPO and offer pro subscriptions.
Well, so neither of those things happened.
Yet. Definitely the IPO is in the
wait.
offing.
You guys keep saying yet. We're talking about 2015 predictions. It's not like if it happens in 20 years, you can go back and say,
No,
hey,
but it is
Patrick, I was right.
Oh my! All right, listen, Deion Sanders. If you want to dance in the touchdown all this show, then that's fine. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Let us recover a shred of our dignity,
This
Patrick.
is the smile. The audio listeners just missing the Cheshire Cat grin, right? Okay, so here's the deal. Snapchat did not IPO in 2015. I was wrong. Okay, to the delight of Frenchmen everywhere, I was wrong with a capital Wu-Tang W. But I do think that Snapchat did get closer to becoming something that the company that they want to be when they get close to IPO or when they want to IPO, and has started to see, not only the money transferring platform that they had done prior to this year, but also beginning to offer new add-ons like the face animations and stuff like that they now are looking at as kind of their version of stickers. For an increased revenue stream. So we saw Snapchat continue to tack closer to the let's be a grown-up media, social media company, but not an IPO and no pro subscriptions. I don't know what pro subscriptions would even necessarily look like right now.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm not sure whether it will happen exactly that way, but they will IPO. I guess the company could go out of business before that, or they could just decide to stay private forever, but it seems unlikely. Your next prediction, Veronica Mars moment coming to Patreon, music related, and YouTube will buy Subbable. If you just rearranged some words in there, Justin, you would have nailed it because Patreon bought Subbable.
Patreon bought Subbable. So yeah, we saw YouTube's. I mean, like the spirit was there.
Moment, so
Yeah, the space between me being right and wrong, I don't think is very, very far. The actual hard predictions, for which this is a metric of, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that I was wrong, even while justifying and explaining what happened. Patreon did have a grown-up moment. Unfortunately, it was a hacking scandal as opposed to one of their or rather snagging kind of a big star, which is what I think still is destined to happen. Is somebody is going to I'll use the term downshift from a major media opportunity to a direct media opportunity, and to be honest, where I think it would have been perfect, and I'm very kind of upset that they decided to go with, I think the iller fit of Kickstarter was something like MST3K, where I think if MST3K launched as a Patreon and not a Kickstarter, I feel like that would qualify for something like that. And meanwhile, I was right. Subbable was a goner. I was wrong in that YouTube wanted to do YouTube Red, and Patreon was the home for that platform.
I think the problem with Kickstarter is that with MST3K, you need the money up front to get started, and that's what Kickstarter gives you. Patreon doesn't get you the money until you start doing things. So it's kind of like you need Kickstarter to get going. Maybe MST3K still could shift to a Patreon model.
If they are done with it, I mean, I think it would be better them to do a season 2 with that than necessarily a
once the sets are built and all of that. Yeah.
Another Kickstarter. But I do think, and that's why I said it was music and not TV initially, because I think music has a lower overhead. If there is a Prince, right, and that was my example, Prince already has Paisley. Is it Paisley Park Studios?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So he's already got a place where he can go record everything. It's just a matter of releasing it.
And I just wanted to add, we're recording a little bit earlier in 2015, so actually it might still happen. And for the second part, the spirit was definitely there. I mean, YouTube did go red and Subbable did get bought, so yeah.
Yeah. That's very generous of you, Patrick.
Lord. Not since they gave us the Statue of Liberty has the relationship between France and the United States been so warm.
It won't last.
Which, by the way, was a totally crowdfunded event.
Liberty?
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty was raised by money paid by regional governments and small little schools and stuff in France for the statue. Laboulaye raised the money. And then in the U.S., Joseph Pulitzer was the guy who got out and got the $1. He asked for $1 donations to build the pedestal on Bedloe Island. I just learned about that last night. So you have just brought up one of the first crowdfunded events.
There we go. And if you pledge $10, you get the digital copy of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Patrick's point is well raised, though. All of these predictions could still yet come true, even if we're listening to this on December 30th. There's still one more day, right?
Okay. So if this is the case, then I was right.
Maybe
we can just edit that.
You said Apple TV will not come out, which it did. And Apple TV came out, but AirPlay becomes an imperative in Apple devices, and you even said something about maybe an Apple TV stick.
So this was dead wrong. I mean, we had a new Apple. I think again, this is the nomenclature problem of Apple TV meaning a set, right, and not a set-top box. The idea that I had was that AirPlay was just really, really rad, and they need to be able to get it on more devices and Android devices specifically. This is just dead wrong. I don't know if Apple, especially as more things continue to kind of catch up with its functionality, I think they really squandered something with AirPlay in terms of how much how easy that was for people that were in the Mac ecosystem. For that to never really crack outside of that, I think really was a missed opportunity.
Comcast and Time Warner Cable merger will be approved.
That didn't happen.
It was the opposite. It totally fell apart. It wasn't even disapproved. It didn't even. Comcast just pulled out. Said, "Fine, you're not going to approve it. We give up. We're pulling out." April 27th, they were done with it. And then Uber CEO Travis Kalanick will not end 2015 as CEO. Still a day or 27 days, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's not true. Uber has continued to grow, and a fairly clean sheet for Mr. Kalanick in terms of not saying something that would make people cringe and scream and yell that he is not the kind of person that you would want as a CEO of the fastest growing company ever. So, in fact, the exact opposite. The rabble-rousing days seem to, at least in terms of public perception, be behind him. Wait, are those the only ones that you have for me?
Yeah, those are the ones that
I
Those
said.
are the 5 ones.
Because, all right.
You can make some up now in retrospect.
No. Okay. Because, by the way, I'm just looking into a Google Doc I have called DTNS predictions.
Okay.
I do not believe that I have opened this up since we did that first episode.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what is
the evidence
the bottom of it. So apparently, I did not say it. Right?
These are the notes from last year. I just took them right out of the Google Doc from last year, where Jennie was assiduously documenting them as we said them and assigning them percentage chances, by the way.
Yes. So here is what I'm going to full screen here so everybody can see. Is that flipped? Can you guys
No,
have
I can't see it.
We can read it.
I see Spider-Man be confirmed to appear in a Marvel movie.
That is on my sheet. Now, apparently I did not say it. Apparently it is not recorded. I'm just saying that on my DTNS prediction sheet, I have everything that you just said. Snapchat will IPO, Patreon will have a Veronica Mars moment, Apple, yada yada, Comcast, Travis Kalanick, Spider-Man will be confirmed in a Marvel movie. That is just so it's all right. I'm God, that's frustrating.
Well, let's start to see how Patrick did, and we'll start with his Uber prediction since it flows out of yours. Patrick, you said Uber will operate without issue by the end of the year. In one sense, that's true because Uber is operating, and where it operates, it seems to operate without issue. But it certainly hasn't stopped being sued and battling and banned in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would give myself this one. They're having less issues. They're a little bit less controversial, but they certainly didn't they didn't go the full, all right, now we have to take all of this seriously and we should pay attention to what we're saying. I mean, they didn't have, I don't think, some ridiculous scandals like, I don't know, getting, naked porn stars to drive you somewhere like they almost had at one point. There were like very attractive ladies that would drive you somewhere. There was one scandal in France.
What country was that in?
Actually, in France, there was, I think, in Lyon,
So
one
you're saying
instance
there was almost a place in France
where the naked ladies drive you
drive
on Uber. Yes. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think they're on the right track, but it's certainly proving still to be more controversial than they would like. And they're not, seeing how Airbnb is operating and making, nice with pretty much everyone, making lots of efforts. It's not exactly the same situation, but I would have thought that Uber would go more that way, and I guess they didn't quite.
Well, Uber also facing kind of different situations. No longer is it necessarily just fighting the taxi unions and local regulations in terms of who can drive a car. It's now kind of evolved specifically in California and possibly now as a national kind of election issue about the idea. They are the poster boys of the the independent contractor situation here in America, which some people say, a lot of people say that this is a great opportunity where people can make money without a set schedule, and some people say it's a way for a big, gigantic, vastly growing company to cheat employees out of rightful benefits and paid time off by offering them a lesser form of employment. So a large wave on the horizon for Uber specifically if the California Equalization Board rules against them again on appeal, which they've already done once.
And yesterday on the listener co-host show, Sakani was one of our listener co-hosts who drives an Uber and a delivery truck, and pointed out that the delivery truck company also employs the drivers as independent contractors, and he had some interesting things to say about the different approach that the delivery company we worked for took versus Uber. So you should definitely, folks, I'm just going to say, go back and listen to his comments on that, because he's someone who's living this situation, and he's not bashing it, but he's also like, here's what they do well, and here's some things I wish they would do better. Apple Watch will sell well, meet expectations, but go unused, Patrick. That's what you said. That's
so
a hard one, because sort of met expectations.
I think honestly, if I may judge myself on my prediction, I think at least I don't know if it's what I said exactly, but the intent was realized, which is it did sell okay. We don't have numbers, which I think is already in itself an indicator that Apple isn't touting them, so they're not as if they were excellent, I think they would tout them a little bit more. So I guess they met expectations. They still took the first place in that category, but there we enter the very subjective area of this prediction. When I say will go unused, I think I have heard many people who were hoping that the Apple Watch would do something for them, and it ended up not, and they are not using it anymore. And some people that were, even users of connected bracelets and smart devices. But of course, you're always going to have some people that say, "Oh, I love my Apple Watch. It does everything I want out of it, and it's become a staple of my digital life today." And it's difficult to judge whether or not it's a complete success. I still think that it didn't, become the thing that we could have hoped for smartwatches in the same way that the iPhone or iPad did for their respective categories, which is make it into something more than it already was.
Hold on, Patrick. I was just getting a little alert on my Apple Watch. It says, no, that's wrong. According to, I think it was Wristly, 6 months after the release of the Apple Watch, satisfaction remained to the tune of 96%.
That is complete bull crap. I cannot believe that number for 1 second. 96% of purchasers of the Apple
of the
Watch,
people who kept their Apple Watch.
Right, of course, obviously, yes. If the people kept using it, they're happy with it, obviously. But I don't think that applies to everyone who bought a watch.
Well, and I don't want to beat any kind of horse. I don't think horses deserve that. But a collection of 17 analysts after the last quarterly earnings report from Apple told Fortune magazine their predictions for Apple Watch sales last quarter, or not predictions really, but estimates, and the number varied from 2.5 million to 6 million. So we don't really even know if the Apple Watch.
We don't. Although Apple Watch sales, I think, considering it's interesting to see where expectations should be on that, considering it is something that needs an Apple 6 or 6 Plus. Or 6 and above, right, to use, and then beyond that, we haven't. I mean, through the Christmas season, I think is really where we're going to see whether or not it is a underselling product as opposed to whatever it did in the middle of the year.
I think you can pair it with an iPhone 5.
Can you?
Yeah.
Doesn't it need NFC or no? It doesn't. What am I saying? Of course not.
Yeah, there's a few people saying they're using it with the 5, but yeah, I mean, point still stands.
Okay, yeah, 5 and above.
Yeah. So I'll give you 50% on that.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Wait, on the selling?
On Apple Watch will sell well, meet expectations, I guess.
Oh, all right. Jeez. All right. Then,
Yeah, no, okay. No, I agree. You know what?
Uber, it'll do okay.
No, you're I'm anticipating your snark, sir, and I agree that the sell well meet expectations. The thing is, remember when we made these predictions, it was still a moment where we could have guessed or hoped or thought that the Apple Watch would sell explosively. And by that, I don't mean that it would explode, but that it would sell immensely. I think in that sense it didn't. But yes, it was a meek prediction.
Now, your next one isn't true yet. It's one of those kind of things, but you said live video would be the last big bandwidth hog we see on the net, and bandwidth will become a non-issue.
Yeah, this one is difficult as well. I also probably wouldn't give it to myself, but again, I'm sure that there are some people that have issues even with live video and that can't use it because of bandwidth caps. Right. It has become more commonplace.
Yes. I think this is a like 2 to 3 year trend.
Right.
If it ends up being true. I also think that it's quite possible some other thing pops up that we're unaware of. Maybe it's virtual reality, right? That starts to be the new bandwidth hog, but not right for 2015 anyway.
And right now, you've probably got 4K reasons why that
count them on 4Ks
will not be the last bandwidth hog.
Maybe not.
Oculus Rift VR and others will come out, but no killer app in 2015, and took the under on 3.82 million units.
I'm not sure how we got that 3.82 million units.
I think we must have found it in an
somewhere,
estimate. Yeah.
Yeah, so on this one I was too generous. It didn't even come out. So, but on the other hand, it didn't come out, so it doesn't have a killer app. So, yay, prediction.
I don't know if you don't get to claim the dependency on that one, do you?
Well, no, I don't. It would come out. It's wrong in the first sentence.
Yes, no, I agree.
He's trying to say, but then no killer app came out either.
True. Yes.
No. It's not. It's completely. I said it would come out, and it didn't come out. But I think it was a lot more certain it would come out. So I was kind of pushing it away, saying it wasn't really ready by saying, yeah, it's gonna come out barely, and then the apps will come later. Again, at a time where we could have thought it would come out with lots of cool apps. But yeah, it's not. We
are in a really weird place with VR still. You know, like it just kind of feels like there's a few of these verticals, and VR is one of them that we're just all waiting. And it'll happen eventually. Yeah. Don't worry.
Well, next year.
VR is a purported hit amongst the people who have a Samsung phone that can take advantage of it. I mean, they sold out of their first run of them and everything.
But we don't know how many they made. So
right. Well, and also it's like what the HTC Vive. That's apparently like life changing. That's like, I hear more people scream and yell about their Vive experiences than ayahuasca drum circles.
Yeah,
the problem in the Bay Area. That's a lot of people.
But yeah, it's also not out. I mean, you have some,
or is it on December 30th?
Yeah, well, no, you have some SDKs. They've said they wouldn't have a commercial release until next year. But also the problem with that is that it is life changing because of the accessories and the fact that you have the little movement and placement sensing totems that you have to place in your room, which means you need to have a relatively large room and move around. So I'm not sure how usable this is going to become once it's in the hands of the actual consumer.
And I'm willing to give you your last one. 4K will be a big holiday season push in 2015, and it is. It's not the only one, obviously. They're never just one holiday season push, but they are definitely out there pushing their ultra high def TVs.
Yeah, this is also on the level of, a Star Wars movie will come out. It's not like I
think last year we were still wondering about 4K. Like, it isn't there yet. Will it be here by next year? And Jenny, you gave it a 75% chance of being right, so I think we were confident in it too. But
yeah, I don't know. I got distracted because I was thinking of a new prediction based on this virtual reality stuff and how it will affect the way people buy homes. but I'll have to save that.
Save that one
tomorrow.
for tomorrow.
Sorry, I was like all off in my mind crafting the prediction.
But Justin was getting angry.
That's how you
just
play the
before.
game.
No, I wouldn't get there. I mean, I'm just playing, like selling televisions during Christmas. Now I've seen everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like trying to predict that Spider-Man is going to be in a Marvel movie. Kind of.
All right. Now we get to.
We didn't know that then. That was news this year. Nobody. I was way in front of that, and I just didn't say it. It was on my notes.
Patrick, if I've learned anything from trivia, Justin does not like to be wrong.
All right, back off. Oh God, what a fraudulent situation.
All right, let's get to Tom. Let's get to Tom.
Let's
This
get
is
to my
gonna be
predictions because
fun.
I must have been hitting the.
Cancel the convention the next year to deal with the scandal. Just so everybody knows, it was such a scandal they had to cancel it for 1 year to let the stink blow over.
Fair enough.
I'm fairly certain that Scott Johnson will deny that, but that's just making it seem more true.
Yeah, sure. Listen, and blah, blah, blah.
I must have been hitting the bourbon when I wrote these predictions because even I can't really remember what I was getting at, or some of them are just like me grasping at any way to be right. I think Internet of Things will start applying to more than just things as wearables underwhelm. Think services like pay-as-you-drive insurance, which, by the way, has happened, but we also talked about it on the show last year as like, well, yeah, that's a thing that is happening. And so I was like, yeah, but more things like that. And I couldn't quite explain to you guys what I was trying to say, and I still don't know. But if I was going to give myself any credit here, it would be that wearables definitely are underwhelming, and the Internet of Things just is steamrolling along. Verizon just launched their special LTE service just for it. There's lots of security companies getting in on figuring out how to best secure your Internet of Things. So it is steamrolling along. I don't know if that's what I meant. I would like to think it was.
Let's say it was.
Sure.
Let's agree that it was.
Give myself 10% credit on this one. But I do think where I was going was more of the Internet of Things will be the hotness, and I don't know that it's quite there yet, the way wearables still are, even if they're underwhelming. People generally talk about wearables. You see them in all the stores. You see clothing stores with them. Internet of Things not. You got your Amazon Echoes out there, but they're still kind of on the fringes.
Yeah.
Although
that's not quite there yet.
Echo is something that I feel like is a few kind of like SDK plugins away, or like I think that's there. Echo as a platform was a huge win for Amazon.
Yeah, and if you look at this doc that I just found, I wrote Amazon Echo will be a huge platform.
Oh, I swear! You think that I did not? I think it was even in the post show that I said it.
I think you did. It actually sounds familiar now that you've said that, so we're going to give you credit for that. 3D printing will hit the mainstream, double in sales. It will have its Commodore 64 moment. I'm 1/3 right. It definitely did double in sales, but that is also a little bit like a Star Wars movie will come out. It's been doubling in sales every year because the sales were 100 million and then they were 200 million, and they're even saying it's going to be 400 million next year. I don't know that we had our Commodore 64 moment with 3D printing this year.
No, and
yeah, I don't think we did.
I don't see a 3D printer that's being advertised in primetime television, and everybody's like, "Oh, I have a friend who has that." They are becoming more prominent. I mean, Brian Ibbett got one, and so they're more top of mind, I think, in our audience especially. But yeah, and then Scott Johnson got one, so they're starting to get out there. But I think we're maybe in the VIC-20 moment, not the Commodore 64 moment.
But ultimately, you have to wonder whether or not the future of 3D printing really lies on the producer side or the consumer side, because I think that we are seeing more than ever 3D printed products for people to buy, and that's giving a tremendous opportunity for people to build with flexibility. However, as a Commodore thing, like as a 3D printer in every home, I still think that there's a question of, well, what do I build aside from figurines?
Yeah, and in manufacturing, 3D printing is becoming a norm.
Yeah,
but that's an entirely different arena. So you're right about the producer versus the consumer. Here's one where I was super high. Context will be the hot new buzzword. Systems will use context more and be context aware. Look at Google's reCAPTCHA as an early example. I think in some sense systems are using context more. We're talking a lot about machine learning and deep learning and that sort of thing, but context did not become a hot new buzzword.
That was a noble cut. That was a noble swing of the bat. Because I feel like that I still kind of believe that I could.
I put my shoulder in it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that I could hear, people like, well, what is the future of Uber? Context. I kind of feel like that is a tech buzzword waiting to happen.
Yeah. We just went with in some sense you could look at this and say we went with different buzzwords, right? I mean, we're talking a lot about natural language processing and deep learning, machine learning, but yeah.
It's almost. I think machine learning could have been. I mean, it's not exactly the same buzzword, but you could almost work it into that. Almost, because in a way, the machine learning bases itself on it helps do the thing with the stuff, right?
I mean, in a way, we've seen it so much more though this year, and you saw, as Google Maps, the leader in that kind of technology, continued to put Waze in there. The integration of those features have become, that is all context aware stuff, and even Apple, has become more and more in that, pick up your phone and it'll show you if it knows that you're away from home, how far it's going to take you back home on your lock screen. So it's like context is there. It's just we're not saying the word. We're not using the C word, Tom.
Yeah. It didn't become the actual buzzword. Don't use that word. Early examples of autonomous machines, not yet self-driving cars, but more than a Roomba. Good, clever prediction crafting on my part. I left it loose enough that it could mean almost anything autonomous. So I'm right, because we are getting autonomous drones and other autonomous products out there.
Like what?
Well, like autonomous drones, for instance, and also other drones. No, we're getting a lot of robotics. There's the Dutch robot that can guide you from gate to gate at the airport. There's the friendly pal that goes around in the retail stores in Japan. There's autonomous programs. That's why I'm saying, like, I left the construction of my prediction loose enough that it could account for anything that arose that happened to have autonomy in it. But things like that are around now.
And
fair enough.
We did see, although you did cut out self-driving cars, probably the biggest you could own in gigantic quotes italicized self-driving car if you owned a Tesla that had the auto drive.
Right, you get an almost self-driving car. Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of public perception, that's a huge thing because Tesla's
it is somewhat autonomous.
And it downloaded right there. So, I think again, I think a bit broad. Yeah. I think that prediction's favorite Comedy Central television show is Broad City.
Yeah, I think that was a broad joke. Risk-based security tightens things down while being honest about what it can't prevent, and apps will become self-protecting. Risk-based security was a big buzzword at the end of last year, and it has continued to be discussed. And there are certainly companies putting out more products around that idea of targeting risks and defending against them instead of taking this holistic approach. So in a broad sense, we have definitely seen more risk-based security and the pivot towards that. I don't think I'm going to give myself credit for this because I don't see a lot of apps. There were a few last year, and there's still a few now, that bill themselves as self-protecting versus needing to have some kind of overall encryption, protection, security, TLS, etc.
Yeah, I don't know enough about this field to go into what should have been expected versus what happened, but I don't think that this is a win.
I do want to note that the Wall Street Journal had an article out in September about Facebook working on self-protecting apps. So maybe, just maybe.
Well, as we were saying earlier in the show, 2015 is not over yet.
All right, Jennie, you made two predictions, show-specific predictions last year. The first of which me and you are largely responsible for making untrue, which you predicted we would reach our video goal this year, and we actually took our video goal away instead.
Okay. So we took the prediction off the table, which means...
We take it off the board. Yeah, that's
it's off the board, which means I got 100%.
That's right. We just invalidated your first one, and your second one, which was by June, we'll have our final two contributors, and we did.
Yes, and we did, and we were so excited to have them and be moving ahead, actually, even into a new year, which might find us reaching the goal of having an international version of DTNS. DTNS Day 6 is a looming possibility in 2016.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we're right there right now because of you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, that is a look at how we did. Tomorrow, you will get a window into how we're going to do as we do our prediction show for next year. But before we wrap up, Mr. Patrick Beja, thank you so much. Not just for being on this show, but for being a part of this show now for more than a year, man. It's extra tricky when you're an ocean away and in another country under their laws that are different than our laws, as you know, doing business arrangements. And I just want to say I 100 and if there were possible more percentage, appreciate you being part of this show.
Well, you could make it 150%.
Sure. Yeah. As many percentages as the math will allow.
That is when we become a little bit sappy, and I'm incredibly thankful to you and Jennie for allowing me to be part of this amazing adventure. And obviously, I'm going to start. Some people might think this is pandering, but I'm really incredibly thankful to you both for letting me be part of the amazing community that you have created around this and your shows, and making me in a way part of the Diamond Club, Frog Pants, Podcasters Extraordinaire family. So it's not just the shows, it's also the people around the shows, including the listeners. So I'm incredibly happy to be part of this, and I hope we can continue doing it for a very long time.
Me too. FrenchSpin.com, folks. Find more Patrick if you haven't already. He's got the Phileas Club and Pixels and much, much more. So go check that out. Justin Robert Young, same goes for you, my friend. Now more than a year as well, and I can't imagine doing this show without you. I really super 100% plus appreciate it.
Oh, listen. Well, can I say something about Patrick real quick? I think Patrick not only is an amazing contributor to this show, but and I think something that gets lost is like I can't imagine doing a talk show in a non-native language. I mean, like I have no second language, let alone the ability to kind of do what is a very, very hard. I mean, most people who speak English would find it very, very hard to do. And if they spoke English their entire life and are proficient, it's their only language. So Patrick, I think, is very, very good. And very specifically, I think this has been a very, very trying year in your hometown, and to have a voice that is articulate as your own, speaking on a lot of that kind of stuff, especially as it's resulted in technology, I think has been very important and illuminating. I know for me as a listener, and I'm very, very, I think it's rad. That
you're making me
I
old.
predict Patrick will cry.
Yes, finally.
I didn't expect such kindness from Justin.
30
Thank
seconds.
you.
Folks, you want more of that kind of Justin Robert Young? There's all kinds of it. You gotta follow the guy, Justin R. Young, on Twitter. And is there a home for Justin Robert Young projects that you point people to? Because you got so much going on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Twitter's the way to go. You can follow a Jury Talks for my one mic show that is general interest, politics for my show that's about home and gardening. There's all sorts of stuff, but really the Twitter's the way to go, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, the The Contender, on sale now. Everybody go ahead to thecontender.us to pick up your copy as they are arriving for us to send out to the top Kickstarter backers tomorrow. I'm tracking it as it makes its way across.
December 31st? I thought they were already out.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, stop. Oh, wait, this is, never mind. It's already out! Yay!
You got
I got
the-
mine.
It's so awesome.
Everyone,
love
I
the
predict
bonus
you all
packs.
have. No, fantastic, man. It is such, and this goes for all the contributors. It's such a relief to get ready for a show every day and say like, oh, it's Justin today. Like I just get excited because you're passionate about stories. You've got years of not only journalism expertise working at a newspaper back in the day, but blogging and dealing with communities and following this stuff. And it's fantastic. Which brings us to the only other person who's about to hit 2 years on this show, Ms. Jennie Josephson. I can't express how much I thank you for everything you've done for this show.
Well, you've only changed my entire life and made me completely internet savvy and given me a warm and loving community that is so nice to me and sends me presents in the mail. So, I'm pretty happy. It's been a pretty great 2 years. It's sort of broadened my worldview into something that I never thought would be possible. So
That's
thanks.
fantastic, and I hope that shows to people that we all really care about this show, and we want to keep doing this show, and we incredibly appreciate every one of you as well that you care about the show and want to keep it going. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support is what most of you are doing to make the show happen. And if you're not and you're willing to, go check it out. There's different ways to support the show. Patreon is the big one because that gives us an idea of how much we're going to get every month on an ongoing basis. But there's also PayPal, and people do scheduled PayPal donations, and there's the store in there as well. If you got a little Christmas bonus that you're looking to, I don't know, get a DTNS mug or something like that, DailyTechNewsShow.com/store as well. Our email address is feedback@DailyTechNewsShow.com. You can give us a call, 512-593-2459. Starting January 3rd again, you'll be able to catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 Eastern at AlphaGeekRadio.com and DiamondClub.tv. And our website is DailyTechNewsShow.com. Tomorrow, an all-new round of predictions. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.